So if I had a nickel for every time this year I saw a Stephen King movie about a guy in a competition for money where you can't stop moving, I'd have 2 nickels.
Well, that was a movie.
Hello, and welcome back to First Thoughts. I'm Simon, this is Justin, and today we're giving our first thoughts on the new The Running Man, which is not, stop calling it a remake, it's not a remake of the Arnold movie, it is just another adaptation from the same source material, which is a Stephen King book. This one was directed by Edgar Wright, it's starring, God, I don't know, Glenn Powell, is that his name?
Sure.
Glenn Powell is his name. It's got a lot of people in it, though, that you'll recognize. It's also starring Coleman Domingo, Josh Brolin, Michael Cera, and some other people, William H. Macy. Am I forgetting anybody important? I don't think so.
This is basically the first thing I've seen the main actor in.
Glenn Powell? Really?
Apparently.
So
I mean,
he's...
I've watched CSI Miami, so I guess I've seen him in one episode, and I saw Zoe Dallas, so I saw him in one episode.
He's in The Dark Knight Rises. You've seen that.
As Traitor Number 1, yes.
He actually has a notable role, though, to an extent, because he's the one that Bane face plants into the counter.
Oh, okay.
He's the one who says, "We don't have any money here." And he says, "Then why are you here?" Also, lies. He was in Spy Kids 3D, motherfucker.
That was the only thing.
He was the kid at the BattleBots arena. I mean, he's most known at this point for he was in Top Gun Maverick, and he was in that chick flick with Sydney Sweeney. I think it was called Anybody But You, something like that.
Anyone but you, apparently.
Okay, yeah. So I've seen him around. I've never been a huge fan simply because his face scares me. But I found out today his voice sounds exactly like George Clooney. I did not know that, but the whole movie I'm like, if every time I blinked, I saw George Clooney when I closed my eyes.
Listen, it's sad for him that Clooney likes to do his own little voice roles on some of those TV shows.
He'd make a career out of...
Listen, that's going to be the next impersonator, eventually.
Except for it's not like he's Tom Hanks and he's got Toy Story toys. What George Clooney toys in video games are there? Batman, one time.
I didn't say toys in video games. Reoccurring characters. You know, he was a dog in South Park once.
Yeah, that's what everybody thinks of when they think George Clooney. They're like, hey, remember that dog in that one episode? Anyway, if you don't know what The Running Man is for whatever reason, you didn't pick it up from that blurb at the beginning, it's a Stephen King story about a competition show where if you survive for 30 days, you win $1 billion new dollars. New dollars is not specified what it is compared to old dollars. This is just in the near future, so money is valuable again. With new dollars.
Yeah, I guess that was to convince us maybe that some of the lower value numbers were
worth
valuable. Because like the main prize is $1 billion. You say just regular or new dollars. You say just $1 billion. I'm gonna understand how crazy valuable that is.
But then he's talking about like they need $200 for this medicine,
right?
And that sounds insurmountable.
Yeah,
because like there's a lot of things where it's like, dude, the cheapest that anybody made on a game show today was $75.
Yeah.
Saying that like it's a big deal, and I'm like, depending on how broke you are,
I mean,
it can be, but like. I don't know.
I didn't need it to be new dollars to make me feel that they were a poor family with a sick child, but
yeah, I picked up on that pretty quick from the she was doing right into the mic.
But around new dollars, whatever.
But anyway, yeah, so like I said, it's directed by Edgar Wright, who, if you don't know who that is, he's most known for movies like Shaun of the Dead, Hot Fuzz, Scott Pilgrim vs. the World. Most recently, he did Last Night in Soho. Right before that, he did Baby Driver. So I would say he's one of the best directors working today, but his last couple of movies, like mainly just Last Night in Soho, honestly, weren't up to par, I think most people would say, with his previous work. Directing-wise, I think everybody thought it was great, but I don't think everybody was as invested, myself included, in the story. So we were all excited to see what he would do next. It kind of seemed weird that he would go the Stephen King route because that's just so different from what he normally does. But apparently growing up, it was one of his favorite books, and every time he read it, he just wanted to adapt it and make it into a movie, so now he finally did. And it was okay.
Yeah.
How do you feel about it?
First off, yeah, it's hilarious that Stephen King has multiple running competition stories.
Hey, the other one's walking. 3 miles per hour.
Still, cardio competition stories.
Yeah.
I want to find out that he has at least 3 more.
It was all that cocaine, man. He was like, I have energy I need to get rid of.
Listen, I couldn't remember if I wrote this story, so I wrote it again.
Honestly, maybe.
It just turned out differently. I don't know how it works.
And they're both like dystopian future,
Yeah.
like, man, the government and the media sucks kind of movies.
And we do this to distract everybody from the problems.
They're the same thing, just slightly different takes on it.
One, you gotta walk the whole time. One, you gotta run and hide.
One, you're getting killed by the Joker, and one, you're getting killed by Thanos. It's the 2 different directions you can go.
Yeah, I also thought it was okay. I preferred the other one, probably for its more serious tone than this one.
Oh, I thought you meant the original Running Man.
Oh, no.
Neither of us have seen the other Running Man movie, by the way. I know very little about it, and I've not read the book either. So
no, I've not read it.
We're completely reviewing this movie purely on this movie's own merit, and that's it. Sorry. We're ignorant fucks. What can I say?
Listen, I saw that child orgy in It, and I went, you know, we need to stay off Stephen King books for a while.
You know what's crazy? I haven't read a lot of Stephen King, but I've read some. And my favorite Stephen King book I ever read was a book called Insomnia. And nobody's even come close to trying to adapt that, and I don't know why. Everything else gets adapted, so maybe that will be my thing.
Oh.
That's my Stephen King movie I'll adapt eventually.
That's the one for you?
Yeah, apparently.
Yeah, buy the rights.
Yeah. Well, actually, I don't know if you know this, but maybe it's just students, but I think it's all independent filmmakers. He sells the rights to his books to be made into films for $1, just so nobody's can do it. And I think that's really cool. So maybe I will do it, but I need CGI to make that movie, so I'm probably not going to do it anytime soon.
Yeah, I think I prefer The Long Walk or whatever it was called for its more serious tone than this one.
Yes.
This was still enjoyable.
Mm-hmm.
A lot of interesting, quirky characters at times.
Great action.
Very good action.
I mean, it's Edgar Wright. Of course, it was good action.
Yeah. I will say for Edgar Wright, but not a huge dig considering his catalog.
Mm-hmm.
I also didn't see Last Night in Soho, so I can't compare it to that. Might be my least favorite of his films. Probably is my least. Actually, it is my least favorite of his films. Now that I think about it.
That you've seen, yeah.
But I mean, I've seen. You know, his original main trilogy.
Mm-hmm.
I've seen Baby Driver.
Mm-hmm. And Scott Pilgrim.
I've seen Scott Pilgrim. I don't know if I'm missing anything besides Soho.
No.
But, so then I've seen almost everything. And
so you have seen At World's End?
Yes.
Because that one is divisive. I love it, but a lot of people don't.
It's been a while. I liked it more than this one. But
yeah,
I did enjoy this one.
Yeah, I would say this is my second least favorite. I think I like this more than Last Night in Soho.
Okay.
But yeah, it's still... And I don't blame Edgar Wright for it at all. I think it was... Well, maybe I do, because it was the script. Now, how faithful is it to the book? I don't know. But all my issues with this movie were in the writing of it. I thought the directing was phenomenal. I thought the acting was very good. I thought, like I said, the action was great. I always loved the editing of Edgar Wright movies.
Yeah.
Everything about this movie looked and felt great. But yeah, the writing of this movie was just not up to par with what I see typically out of Edgar Wright films. That's how I felt about Last Night in Soho as well. And so I don't know if it's because of that Stephen King connection or if he's just not as good of a writer now or whatever. It seems like his more serious movies aren't as well written as his comedy parodies. I mean, Scott Pilgrim's a comedy. It's not a parody, but it is a comedy. And then Baby Driver was serious and it was really good. But the other two serious movies, if you will, they're all laced with a little bit of comedy.
Yeah.
But Last Night in Soho and this one definitely are the two worst of his catalog as far as writing goes. And I wonder if that's just his weakness as a writer, or maybe it's the Stephen King thing, because I think my biggest issue with the writing in this movie was specifically the end. I didn't love the beginning either, but I enjoyed the entirety of the rest of it until the end I thought was really, really weak and ruined it for me.
I honestly thought we had more movie, which didn't make a lot of sense, but then it even for me realizing the movie was going to end, it felt kind of abrupt as an ending.
It wasn't even just abrupt, but it felt... I don't want to give anything away yet. We'll get more to it in spoilers, but I just felt like it wasn't earned how it ended. And that's something that I always point out about Edgar Wright movies, is that they always earn the endings. And that's why I appreciate it, because like in, one of the biggest things that he did in that original trilogy, the Nick Frost, Simon Pegg trilogy, Cornetto trilogy, is that he parodied shitty endings really well. I mean, all of the movies are great at parodying a lot of things, but one of the things he loved to really dig at are bad, shitty, unearned endings. And so in, like, Shaun of the Dead, it pokes fun at the fact of, like, well, he turned into a zombie, but they're still friends, it's okay. And then in Hot Fuzz, it's like, everybody clearly died, but then it's like a reshoot ending and like, nope, we're fine, everybody's fine. And then at World's End, it's like, yeah, well, the world's destroyed and everybody's dead, but hey, he's not a loser anymore. And so he always takes digs at these unearned endings, and I love that. And then in Baby Driver, he wanted to have a happy ending, and it was really hard to get there without it feeling unearned, and he put in the effort and the work to get there. And so I've always been a fan of how he's ended his films, and this by far was my least favorite ending. I thought it was just bad because it felt cheesy, it felt unearned, and it felt a little bit abrupt, like you were saying. So I don't know, because Stephen King is known for terrible endings. If that's his fault?
That definitely feels like it could be the end of the book. I don't know for sure, of course.
I don't know either.
But I could definitely see that being well, this is the way the book ended. I guess we have to end it that way.
I don't know. I really thought they were going one way with the ending, and I was really happy about it. And then it just made a left turn, and it felt like one of those things where a test audience was involved, said they didn't like it, and they were forced to change it. And if that's the case, I'm really, really disappointed, because I thought Edgar Wright was past that point where he had to appease people with his films. And I'm like, if he was forced by a studio or felt pressured by an audience to make a change to his movie, that's really, really upsetting to me. Because, like I said, he's one of the best in the business. He shouldn't be listening to stupid people telling him what to do with his movies.
See, but he doesn't want to ruin the adaptation of Stephen King now.
And that could be it too, because Stephen King loves to ruin a good thing. So maybe that's the case. It didn't really feel like a Stephen King ending to me, because Stephen King loves a sad ending. So I don't think this didn't feel like I said, the unearnedness of it doesn't feel like a Stephen King thing to me, but maybe it was. I don't know. I'd have to read it, and I won't.
That's what synopsis is for.
Yeah, sure. That's a good point. Why did neither of us Google this shit? We normally Google differences between book and movie.
Oh, that's hilarious. The book is set in 2025?
Oh, I forgot. Yeah, it is. Yep. Yeah, here's a little soundbite for you. The film's final act is particularly baffling and feels like it was pieced together in a hurry from studio mandates, audience testing, some highly literal modernizations of beats from King's book, and a few half-assed ideas that don't ever fit together. That's how it feels.
Oh my gosh. Okay, well, this is way different.
Yeah, I figured it would be. All right, let's save that for spoilers. The ending's shit. And it appears it's not Stephen King's fault for once, which actually that's what we said during The Long Walk too. So I don't know why the ending is the ending it is. It's a really big letdown. We'll get more to that in spoilers. But yeah, that was disappointing for me. The rest of the movie's fun. I mean, another thing that distinctly made it not feel like Edgar Wright, which is a weird thing to say, but like it felt too American. Edgar Wright's movies, aside from Baby Driver, are very British. I guess Scott Pilgrim, too. It's Canadian. But it doesn't feel American.
Yeah.
Baby Driver, for some reason, worked, though. Even though it was American. This movie I felt like it didn't feel quite like him in a lot of ways. And I was blaming the Americanisms of it, but maybe that's not the case because Baby Driver was still cool. So I don't know. It's definitely still very masterfully done on a technical aspect. But I feel like some of the joy was gone there. And I feel like maybe there was some studio tampering or something. I don't know.
Yeah, from reading some of the book synopsis and trying to piece together the differences at the ending, it does seem like there's some
studio
interference. If I read this book as a kid, probably want to adapt the ending of the story I read. Yeah. This is a much, much happier audiences were probably walking out of this theater real sad and they didn't enjoy it.
But I like the sad shit,
I would have vastly preferred that.
Yeah. So I mean, I don't want to bash on it. It was a good time. It was a fun time.
Yeah.
But like, I'm used to with Edgar Wright walking out of the theater after seeing one of his movies, being like, that was a revelation. Even, At World's End, which was the worst of that trilogy, I still love that movie. And there's still moments in them like, oh my God, how did somebody come up with that? All of them, except for Last Night in Soho and now this, I felt that way coming out. And now it's just, you start to wonder, it's like, man, I hate to say it, but is Edgar Wright on a cold streak? You hate to see it. But I feel like every artist goes through that at one point, unless they're the Beatles. So
was Last Night in Soho an adaptation, or
no? That was completely original.
Huh.
It was interesting too because like it felt like for a while Edgar Wright, he parodied a bunch of genres. Right. Shaun of the Dead, horror, Hot Fuzz, action, At World's End, apocalyptic thriller, and then he went, all right, now let me prove that I can do those movies. So he did Baby Driver, action. He did Last Night in Soho, horror. And then this. He went back to action. He double dipped. I'm like, weren't we going through the same genres again? No? Okay, we gave up on that idea? All right, that's a shame.
I mean, I guess maybe he just got the opportunity to direct this, and then they want it in 2025
so
for the 2025. I could see that, him breaking his little formula for that.
Maybe.
Because, I don't see how you do this non-action.
Yeah, because, I mean, technically, Scott Pilgrim broke the formula because he did that in the middle of the trilogy.
Oh, yeah.
So he stepped away to do that and then came back and did another one. So, yeah, I guess so. But, yeah, I don't know. I definitely enjoyed it. I don't want to say it was bad. It just wasn't a revelation. Like, it wasn't anything new or great we haven't seen before. But it was still a lot of fun. And like I said, it's still technically great. So I don't know. I mean, it's not going to blow, I think, anybody's mind, but it was a fun time, and I would happily give it I'm dying, apparently. I'd give it a 6. I think maybe even a 6.5.
I thought that score was going to kill you.
Yeah. It's hard to give Edgar Wright such a low score, but yeah, it's a 6, maybe a 6.5 for me.
I feel like I'm all right with the 6.5, but that might get bumped down once we start talking about the ending more.
It could, because I'm sure it's gonna frustrate me.
Yeah, it's gonna. I gotta reread both sides again, but that was some differences there.
Yeah.
And I'm very much one who would have preferred the sad ending because I don't need everything to be happy. Not everything has to be happy.
No.
Right? People are allowed to have their sad endings.
It's just fucking American cinema. That's why this movie felt so American, man. Too goddamn happy. All right, we're going to get into spoilers now. So if you don't want anything spoiled, you should go watch it first. Come back and we can talk about it then. But don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe. Thanks, guys. Bye. So, yeah. Basic plot. You already get the idea. He's forced into the competition, which is one of my biggest gripes, by the way. He should have just joined the competition, because then they try to play a slant where he's like, I am doing this for my wife and kids, and even if I die, at least they'll be set up for life. But he didn't want to do it.
That was an odd choice.
I hated that
because,
choice.
Of course, he has to be in the competition.
Right.
Of course, he states he's going down there not to do it. You know he's going to walk out in it. But, my God, the setup is just perfectly there.
Yeah.
The family, the motivations.
Yeah. It made it seem like it in the trailer.
Yeah. Not, hey, we have like 50 people here, and after our tryouts, the 3 of you're going to be Running Man now.
Yeah.
That's the season. It's just the 3 of you.
Yeah. Also, what a shitty show. 3 players, like, for 30 days. How are you stretching that out?
Yeah, I thought, I know that whole, like, building they were going to does a bunch of reality shows.
Yeah.
But I expected, like, 20 people, not expected to know them.
Yeah.
But, some fodder for some deaths or something.
Yeah, I mean,
Just
I also
people.
didn't know it was 30 days. I expected everybody to die in a week.
I did remember them saying 30 days from the trailer, but that's another reason why I thought there'd be more people, because, we have one guy die, what was it, day 1 or 2?
Yeah, they said within 48 hours.
And then the woman dies at, because
Day 12 or something?
Yeah. But because they all go their own ways, we kind of just get her updates from time to time.
Yeah.
A little piece by piece there until we finally hear that she got killed.
Which
was hilarious.
Any real character development at all. It's just she's in strip clubs and then she gets set on fire by some toddlers.
Hilarious.
Not literally toddlers, but practically.
Close enough. They're like 9-year-olds with flamethrowers.
Yeah, it was crazy. But yeah, another thing too is it felt so surface level in moments that I felt like could have had depth. So during the tryouts, he saves Tim from falling during this climbing thing.
Yeah.
And because he did that, Tim didn't get disqualified, and so he made the Running Man, and so he died. So in essence, he died because Glenn Powell saved him.
Yeah.
So Glenn's the reason he died. That should have been talked about, but it's just Tim, damn it. Tim died, shucks. And it's
he's got running to do. It's no time for that.
We should have felt something here, and we didn't. And so that's kind of where this movie felt kind of sloppy as with the writing as well, where it just felt like the tone didn't know what it wanted to be throughout. But I feel like after Tim died, the movie got really good, and I really enjoyed it until the ending, which pissed me the fuck off. Because so what ends up happening is he Hunger Games this shit. He realizes it's a game, and by the way, there's a whole thing in the trailer about you can't win. It's rigged against you. That doesn't get brought up at all.
Yeah.
Not even once. But they do get into the politics of it of we let you survive longer, which makes sense why some of the guys' aims is so bad. I was wondering. I'm he's right in front of you and they're missing.
See, I want to complain about that and I'm glad they had a legitimate explanation for it. But I'm just trained that villains can't hit things anymore.
Can't hit for shit. But yeah, so he ends up finding out, it's a system. The more popular you are, the more entertaining you are, the longer they'll let you live, and they'll build up to this grand finale with you or whatever. And then he also gets to the point where they're you're so popular, we want to spin the show off about you and make you one of the hunters instead. And he's no, I'm not going to do that. And they're well, too bad, because we already killed your family. And you're oh shit, did they really? And then they don't show it. They cut away before it happens. They didn't really, but he thinks they did because he's a gullible motherfucker.
Yeah.
He falls for everything anybody tells him in this movie. And then so he ends up fighting, and he's trying to essentially, he realizes he's going to die. All the bad guys are dead, but he's going to die, and he's going to crash the plane into the Twin Towers and take out as many people as he can with him. And you're okay, that's interesting. He said he was going to go after Josh Brolin, and it kind of feels anticlimactic that he's not. But hey, they V for Vendetta this shit by saying you can kill the man but not the idea. So maybe we're going that route, and, some of the protesters are going to do something to Josh Brolin.
Yeah.
Okay. But then he doesn't even get to crash in the building because some, anti-aircraft defense missiles or whatever, they don't specify where they come from. He gets shot down.
Surface-to-air missiles or some shit.
Yeah, he gets shot down before he gets there.
Yep.
And so then it cuts to, like I said, the protesters. And ultimately, actually, it shows, I forget the character's name, but he's explaining how all of this stuff happened. And I really enjoyed it. It was what a great ending, because it leaves it open-ended. Did he survive? Didn't he survive? He totally died, but maybe he's out there. And then, oh, look, we're V for Vendetta-ing it, where people are going to start dressing up like him and doing this shit. And then you show the family and they're alive. I'm strike one. And then you show him and he's alive. Mm-hmm. Strike 2. And then he goes and personally kills Josh Brolin. Strike 3. That's a shitty ending. Yeah. That's a shitty fucking ending. So that pissed me the fuck off, because it went from a 7.5 to a 6.5 just because of that scene alone for me. Now tell me how the book ends, please.
So, couple of differences here. One thing that's very interesting, at one point they say the main character broke the Running Man survival record of 197 hours, which was not in the movie, because they kept saying first season guy lasted 29 days.
Which is a lot more than 190 hours, isn't it?
I think so. They had this guy only lasting 18 hours in the movie. Or 18 days,
18 days. So, wait, how many hours?
197.
197 divided by 24 is 8.2. So they did the same thing that The Long Walk did, where they just stretched that motherfucker out way longer.
I think it's still a 30-day competition, but it's I think that's the longest anyone ever lasted.
Yeah, that makes sense. I mean, it would make sense to me if
30 days.
Nobody lasted more than a week. It sounds more Stephen King-y than nobody's lasted more than 29 days. How the fuck are people avoiding the SWAT? This world's version of the SWAT for a month? That's fucking insane.
But apparently, the news of his breaking the record causes the once complacent and submissive lower class to rise up against the elites, with the police unable to stop it. So
cool.
Him surviving that long apparently sparks the revolution.
Nice. Political. Awesome. Like that. What else was better about this book, Justin?
So, okay.
Keep pissing me off. I love it.
He takes the hostages. He flies the plane over the low-populated area to avoid being shot down.
Nice.
That
happened.
They call him to, offer him the chance to replace McCone as the lead hunter.
Okay.
He hesitates to accept the offer. They then tell them that his family is dead, and they've been dead for over 10 days. Murdered by intruders, apparently.
Okay.
He accepts the offer,
doesn't smash the computer. Okay.
Realizing he has nothing left to lose.
Which was crazy, because, by the way, cutting back to the movie real quick, They say, if you don't accept this offer by the time the theme song ends, we're going to kill you. And then he doesn't accept it. He smashes the computer, and then they say, hey, guess what we're doing next season? And I was like, he didn't say he was accepting that, motherfucker. What are you talking about? Oh, poor writing. Anyway, back to your story.
He kills a lot of the crew in McCone. He gets a mortal gunshot wound in the end from McCone.
Love it.
He gets the one girl hostage he had to jump off the plane with a parachute.
Nice.
And he uses the last of his strength to reprogram the autopilot, fly the plane towards the skyscraper serving as the headquarters of Games Network. The book ends with the plane crashing into the tower, resulting in the deaths of Richard and Killian, and the novel closes with a description. The explosion was tremendous, lighting up the night like the wrath of God, and it rained fire 20 blocks away. That's how the book ended.
So the only thing that I would have changed about that is their little YouTube guy doing the conspiracy theory and seeing how then the political fallout was, because that was an improvement. I liked that a lot.
Yeah.
But having that fucking cop-out happy ending bullshit? Fuck off.
That's the exact shit I hate.
I hate that.
Because it's very clear that audiences were like, oh my gosh, they can't kill the sick daughter and his wife. They've been fighting this whole time, and that'd be so bad. And he fought, and we all like him now, so he can't die too. And that'd just be way too sad to have the whole family die.
I'm totally cool with the conspiracy theorists saying, like, hey, maybe he escaped in an escape pod, and maybe the family isn't dead. I'm cool with the maybe. That's great. Leave it open-ended. That's awesome. But to show it as all happy and go lucky, and then Coleman Domingo quits because this ain't right, and you lost the people, so I'm out. Oh, you're gonna shoot me? Well, guess what? My contract says fuck you. And they'll go, oh, guess we can't shoot him now. What the fuck is that? It's the same thing. What movie was that recently? The Good Fortune, where it's like somebody says, oh, we should change the world, and everybody goes, yeah, you're right. We're all gonna change now. It's like, fuck out of here. That's not how it works. You gotta show it like the V for Vendetta thing, where it's like, okay, the world is fucked still, but look, there's a small growing community of rebellion. That's what we get excited for. Is like, look, there's some rebels here that we can put some masks on and go, hey, let's fuck some shit up. That's inspiring, not the, oh, you're right. Everything is perfect.
No. See, we got the rebels out there, and now we got the leader, right? He's out there, and he's taking out the main bad guy, and now everything's gonna be good because there's nobody else that matters. It's all gonna fall apart now that the main bad guy's done, and that guy's gonna be fine. He's gonna go back home with his family because they were mean to him and like kind of evil, so that'll excuse all the stuff he did too, and happily ever after. We just need to see that. Yeah, no, the ending is...
The ending sucked ass.
Yeah, this ending is bringing it down to a 6 at least. This is bad. It's just... It is one of those things that I don't think most movie studios have the balls for these days.
Not major ones. What was the studio behind this?
That's a good question, actually.
Because indie filmmakers love that shit. But they did the same shit to The Long Walk, too. They made that happy for no reason, too.
I know. Paramount.
Paramount did this? Fuck you, Paramount. It's just both times they're like, hey, there's legit commentary here that's interesting. How about we fuck it up with a happy ending?
Yeah, I don't... I
That's genuinely disappointing
now,
to hear how good the ending actually was.
Now I'm kind of curious about all the Stephen King adaptations over the years. Have any of them been allowed to have their original sad endings if they have all original sad endings?
I mean, some of the, like, the
Like, I don't know what its original ending is.
Its ending is still stupid.
Yeah.
It is.
Huh.
But to be fair to him, a lot of the horror endings are stupid because... in the adaptation form, because the CGI just wasn't good.
Yeah.
Like the Langoliers, you got some flying meatballs with razor sharp teeth. That's gonna look stupid. But I mean, no, he often didn't know how to land the plane. No pun intended for Langoliers. But yeah, no. It's funny though, because I think horror typically though is where Stephen King fails to land the plane most often. Okay. Seems to be his dramas. I mean, Shawshank has a great ending. Yeah. Green Mile has a great ending. The Running Man clearly had a great ending. I love the ending for The Long Walk in the book.
Yeah.
So it seems like his dramas he knows how to end. It's the horror that he sometimes struggles with.
But no one wants to let... Well, I guess Shawshank. But no one wants to let him have his drama endings, at least nowadays.
No. It's funny because, like, as much as I enjoyed the rest of it, there's not much that I really want to talk about other than how disappointing the ending was, because I was really along for the ride.
Yeah.
You know, after the first 20 minutes, which were rocky because of the, well, we gotta get going, and it just feels, like, silly with, like, my life sucks so much, but I'm not gonna do the thing, but I am gonna do the thing by accident that I didn't want to do. That whole thing was so frustrating because it was so unnecessary and dumb. But then once he actually was in the game, I enjoyed it, every second of it, until the ending. Oh, you know what else pissed me off about this movie, but I forgave it? So there was a couple of kids who had to deliver some lines in this movie, and boy oh boy, these kids sucked as well. But you know what the worst part was? They're like, all right, we need to get him out. Let's put him in our trunk and drive him away. So they put him in the trunk, they start driving, and then the two people driving up front start narrating everything that's fucking happening, and not only is it bad acting because it's that kid that I mentioned, but the dialogue is so heavy-handed and awful because they have to be like, hey, look, there's somebody on the left. Now they're on the right. Oh, they're coming up from behind. It sounded like, you ever go on one of those, like, interactive rides at Universal?
Oh my god, yeah.
That was what was fucking playing on the TV.
It's like
in the fucking screen in the theater. I thought I was at Universal on the fucking Fast and Furious ride. May it rest in peace. Discontinued. RIP family. But, oh my god, that was one of the worst scenes I've ever seen in a good filmmaker's movie. Holy shit.
Hey, we had to let them have their more comedic moments to those.
I don't think it was supposed to be funny. I don't think that was funny at all, intentionally. That was just legitimately one of the worst scenes I've ever seen. Which is so painful to say about Edgar Wright. He's one of the reasons I am a filmmaker. I love his shit. Scott Pilgrim changed my life.
Yeah, I gotta say, I don't know that I could, like, if I didn't know that the Cornetto movies were his, I don't know, I could have said, oh, that's an Edgar Wright film. But there isn't a thing in this film that would tell me this is an Edgar Wright film, realistically.
I mean, just the action and the editing, but even that, I mean, there's a lot of good action directors and editors out there, but it did feel like him in elements. But yeah, you're right. I mean, aside from a couple of very small nods to his other works, it felt like Like, I swear the bunker door was a reference to Scott Pilgrim's apartment. It looked exactly like it, other than it being a bunker door, but, like, the way it was carved in. I was like, oh, look, it's Scott Pilgrim's house, and Scott Pilgrim's telling him where to get to it. I swore that was it may not have been, but I was like, that's gotta be a reference. But, yeah, other than stuff like that, it was very hard to pinpoint it being, anything like Edgar Wright. It was just not the same quality level you expect from him. I mean, there's a lot of issues with the writing too, where it's just like things that you're just like, why did they put that in there? Like, that didn't help anything, and in fact, it made things tougher to understand. Like, so he signs up for the games, and then so he gets into the Running Man, and then the first thing he does is go to his friend's place, who runs like a black market arms dealer / bombs / fake IDs / any and every criminal thing you may need.
Classic.
And he goes, man, you know why this sucks? I was literally just about to hire you. And it's like, why didn't you hire him months ago? What the fuck are you talking about? It was just such a weird, dumb thing to say that it just takes you out of the movie for a moment. We're like, but why?
But we gotta drive it home that this was really an unfortunate circumstance that could have been avoided completely.
Exactly. It could have been avoided completely. So don't do it. Man, that is just frustrating. But yeah, so cool things about it though, like I said. So the deep fake stuff was fun. I enjoyed a lot of the silly, cheesy TV moments of it too. Also them showing what TV would look like in the future, where censors are even less giving a shit. Yeah. Where it's like, they're like doing an ad for it on public TV, and they're like, because this is America, the best fucking country in the universe. And it's just like, that's fun. And feels very silly, but also kind of accurate.
It's a show
Although
about
they
killing
still won't show tits on TV.
No.
They'll show
violence in language. That's the American way, not the sexuality. At least for the young ones.
They showed the stripper, I guess, was uncensored, because that was in the actual show. I guess it was just in the commercial version they had the tits censored, I think.
That's exactly the way.
Yeah. That's fair.
Violence and language. No sex.
I'm glad they addressed the fact that the live TV wasn't, like, actually live, because I'm like, that's not how live TV works. There's a delay, and you can just cut to commercial whenever you want. And so they're like, great speech. Nobody fucking heard it. I'm like, thank you. Because I'm like, where do you think that speech is going? Nowhere.
It was live, right? It is interesting to see them just constantly doctoring everything he tries to
That was fun. I liked that with the deep fake and the CGI, AI, whatever it was thing. I thought that was apropos for the year of 2025.
Yeah, that is in the original one too, but it's just, they just describe it as overdubbing his audio, essentially.
But speaking of which, by the way, there was some really bad dubbing in this movie. There was a couple of lines that were horribly dubbed. I just completely forgot about that until you mentioned dubbing over, and then I was like, oh my god, he was not saying that. He was not saying that, but that's fine. Yeah, this is just low quality for Edgar Wright. I don't know. That's a shame, too. Imagine, like, one of your favorite stories that you've dreamed your whole life of being able to adapt, and then it's just a bastardized version. Unless that's what you wanted to do, Edgar Wright, then
I can't.
You did it.
I can't imagine really loving the story.
If that's your favorite story as a kid,
really I'd have to love the ending too, and I just can't imagine having to radically change the entire ending.
Yeah. Anything else about this one? Or do we want to move on to Frankenstein?
I can't think of anything more for this one.
Which is disappointing. There should be so much to say about it. Other than, my white king marrying a black woman. You know what you're doing. I love, too, how he goes to the other house and he sees a black baby. He's like, that reminds me of my black baby. I have one of those. I was just like, of course, all right. But I swear, it would be so, like, God, there were so many opportunities for him to just hide out somewhere. Like, literally, just hide in the fucking trunk of this car for 30 days. You'd be fine. Or go to the motherfucking bunker. I guess it turns out to not actually be there. But why the hell did not Michael Cera actually take him there? He's like, let me kill some goons first, because they're not cops, they're goons.
Yeah.
It's not ACAB, it's AGAB, for whatever reason. And it's like, just go to the bunker. What are we doing? It's like any and every opportunity to be stupid is taken forcefully in this movie. Like, just hide him in the trunk for a while. I don't get why they didn't do that. Literally, who's going to go around checking trunks? There was no surveillance footage of him getting there. You were there for days without them knowing. The only reason they end up knowing is because they panic leave, and stupid.
Yeah, there definitely feels like some ways to get around some of these rules here. But then I guess you have to trust people.
Also, if you really don't want to do the trunk thing right away, they talk about pre-filming this shit, and then they don't. Just film 30 days worth in their one bathroom or wherever he was that one day. Film 30 of those bitches, then hide in the trunk, and every day they go out and deliver one somewhere. And eventually they're going to be like, all right, he's in this town, but where? He never leaves anywhere. So maybe they would eventually find out, okay, well, this is the girl on the bike putting it in, so they track down to the house. But that would take, I feel like that would take so long. Maybe it wouldn't. They're SWAT. But if you're in the trunk, who the fuck is going to find you in the trunk?
Yeah, it feels like if you maybe stayed mobile with the trunk plan.
Time to go
mobile. Potentially get away with this, but
I don't know. I went for a Bane impression and Plankton came out. Mr. Krabs.
Maybe Plankton is just going to grow up to be the Bane of their world. Right?
Nobody cared who I was until I had the Krabby Patty formula.
It I was born in the jump bucket, snorted in the jump bucket.
God damn it. Okay, I think we're done. That feels like a good place to be done. Thanks for watching, guys. Please let us know what you thought in the comments below. And, of course, don't forget to like, share, follow, subscribe. Also, Edgar Wright, we still love you. Bye.
Bye.
Jesus.